What's up everyone, this is Bass3177 here, and today I have a brand new unboxing. And what I have here today is a bass guitar. So honestly, this is my very first bass guitar. I don't really play the bass. I play the guitar. I buy a lot of guitars, as you can see right here. But I've never really been a bass player. I don't really play the bass. But I've decided to start. And at the same time, I'm also obviously a really big Slipknot fan. As you can see right here, I do concert vlogs. I've done unboxing videos of some Slipknot guitars. My Jimber collection. I have a mini Mick Thompson collection, and I have some masks. So I decided that my very first bass should be Slipknot related. So what I did is I went ahead and splurged, and I bought myself a Status Graphite VMAN signature bass, VMAN being Alessandro Venturella, the current bass player for Slipknot. So, a little expensive, probably not exactly a beginner's bass, for a beginner like me, that's just trying to start to play bass. But, I'm just like, since I'm gonna start and I like Slipknot, might as well, right? I don't think there's anything wrong about buying an expensive bass to start out, in that sense. I know most people would just go for like a cheaper one, a budget model or whatever, beginner model. But hey, I want to play bass. I want to start to learn how to play bass, and I also like Slipknot. So win-win, right? I get to collect my Slipknot stuff, and I also get to have a bass guitar to play. So all right, enough rambling, enough talking. Let's open this up and let's see what we got. So it's a lot of bubble wrap. So do bear with me. Like normally I would cut and just go straight to like the guitar already open, but this time I'm gonna do the full thing. So if you're a little bit impatient, then just skip to later. I decided to like do this entire unboxing, entire unwrapping, just in case if there's anything wrong, I could like show the video to like FedEx, that hey, there's something wrong during shipping and my item got damaged or whatever. So at least they know that I didn't like drop the guitar myself and break it and try to say that they did it, So you can see right now I'm unwrapping it right now. So okay, here we go. So first things first, we have the strap right here. So I actually went ahead and bought a Status Graphite leather strap for the bass. So here it is. Really cool. Pretty high quality. It's a really nice quality. So yeah. So now for the main event. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. So here it is. Here's the case. So now let's open this up together. All right, guys, so here it is. Status hard case. So now let's open this up and see what we got. So there you go. Is there any at the back? Nope. Okay, so here it is. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Wow. What a beauty. So let me just take this out and put the case aside and let's take a look. All right, guys, so I got everything out of the way. Case right there, box right there. So now we can finally focus on the base. So, but before that, so in the case, it comes with a bunch of these like documents, you know, the status, premium bass strings, this 5-year warranty for the case. So it comes with these documents right here. You know, if you guys are interested in reading, you know, so these are basically, I guess the instructions. You know, it's a manual, you could say. So if you guys want to read, you guys could pause the video right here. Other than that, next. So it has the spec sheet right here. So this is the specs for this bass. So it has my serial number. So this serial number is the exact one for this bass. So this bass was completed on 18th December 2024. So that's, you know, 4 or 5 months ago. So it's not that long ago. You know, this bass is pretty new, you know. So 34-inch scale, 19 mm string space. So the body is made out of American swamp ash. I was actually told that the body is made out of poplar. So I don't know. I guess this should be more accurate because this specs is for this specific piece. I don't know. But well, according to here, it says American swamp ash. So let's go with that. And the neck is made out of American rock maple, fitted with dual action truss rod, and 2 internal common rods. Can't see that one, that's inside. And then for the fingerboard, we have phenolic. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, phenolic, but it's basically Richlite, you know. And it has the sight right markers right here, so you can see. Hold up, let me just try to focus. Come on, there we go. So it works as a sight marker and it also works as a fretboard marker. You know. And this thing glows in the dark. So when you shine UV light on it, it will glow. I'm actually not sure. I mean, I haven't shined any light on it yet, so it's probably not going to be bright. But I think, let's see. Let's try to off the lights and see if it glows. Yep. So it does glow. But I'm pretty sure if you shine it with UV light, it's going to glow even more, even brighter. But as it is, you know, I haven't shined any light on it yet. But, you know, you can see when it off the lights. You can see it glowing. So, yeah. So the neck finish is satin black. And the body is finished in what they're calling Satin Genesis Aurora. So this is basically a chameleon finish. It's like a iridescent finish. So in different angles, it looks, you know, it looks like a different color. So over here, you can see it looks green. And then when you move to this angle, it looks a little bit more purplish. So yeah, really cool finish. I really like this. So the pickups, they're calling it the soap bar pickups. And then as for the knobs, I'm pretty sure this is the master volume. Hold up, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so let me see. They probably have some. Okay, so here it is. So some instructions, you know, about, you know, the bass itself. So, okay. Yep, so this is the master volume, and this is the pickup switch, the pickup knob. And this is the switch that activates, you know, the EQ, you know, all that. Because if you buy like other status basses, It's you can usually control it like from the front, but for this particular bass, this VMAN bass, the controls are actually at the back right here, inside the control cavity. So you can see the cavity plate. It has some holes there. So what you do is, the bass actually comes with some screwdrivers. I actually should have taken that out before I started filming this part, but it's okay, the case right here. So it comes with, you know, this small screwdriver that you can use to put into the hole, and you can adjust, you know, the settings for your bass. You know, usually it's at the front, so you can adjust at the front. So I guess it's a pros and cons kind of thing. It depends. You know, some people, they want to be able to adjust their settings from the front. You know, when you're playing, you know, let's say the next song you need in a different settings, you could do it on the fly, you know, just turn it up. But for some people, you know, they just want to preset their bass to a specific settings, and that's all they need. And, you know, they don't want to have to play and accidentally turn something and change, you know, their settings, right? So to have this right here, you could turn to whatever settings you want, and that's it. You know, you're not going to accidentally knock into it and, you know, change the settings. So, you know, it's a pros and cons kind of thing. You know, depends on what you really need. So for VMAN, obviously this is a signature bass. So for VMAN, he obviously prefers to, you know, have all the controls at the back and out of the way, so you don't accidentally, you know. So yeah. So let's see what else it says here. So, okay, so you guys can probably just, you know, if you guys want to read, you guys can just pause the video right here. So this is the specs. Active EQ, bass cut boost, you know, plus minus 12 decibels at 100 hertz. So you guys can read that. So yeah. So the strings, the stock strings are, I think it's probably like 45 to 105. I could be wrong. But yeah, it comes stock with, it's actually in tune, I think. I haven't touched this, I haven't tuned it or whatever, but it came out of the box in tune, so, you know. So if you want to put thicker strings, thicker gauge strings, and, you know, tune it to like drop B and play Slipknot riffs, you're probably gonna have to like foul the nut, because the nut is fouled for this specific gauge in standard tuning. So let me see if it has any more info. Okay, so yeah, it does say right here the string gauge. Yep. So there it is. So yeah. So let's just take a look at the headstock. So that's the headstock right here. This is a really long video, but I just wanted to be as detailed as possible, so do bear with me. So Status Graphite logo right here. Here's the back. So there's my serial number. So bolt-on construction. The battery compartment. So this thing runs on two 9-volt batteries. So again, here's where you adjust your EQ and all that. So yeah. All right, guys, so there we have it. This is the Status Graphite VMAN signature bass. So, you know, there's not many of these out there. You know, they're not, you know, as it always is with Status Graphite, you know, there's just not, it's just not a huge mass-produced production run like some of the other brands. You know, these are pretty small, you know, smaller production runs. So I'm not sure how many is out there, but really, I haven't really seen many out there. You know, there's not many people posting pictures of their VMAN bass. Definitely not any on for sale on, like, say, eBay or Reverb or whatever. So, you know, I can't imagine there's many of these out there. But if you want, I'm pretty sure there's still a few in stock at Status Graphite, so you could just email them, and you know they'll work out how much it is shipped to you. It's a pretty smooth transaction, you know, pretty straightforward. You know, I just emailed them, told them I'm interested, gave them my address, and they pretty much just came back with, you know, how much the base is and how much shipping is, and you know, from there, you know, everything was settled within a couple of days, and they shipped it via FedEx, and it arrived in like 3 days. So really fast. Everything from order to receiving it took, you know, less than a week. So yeah, you know, really good customer service from Rob and Don. You know, they're really helpful, you know, replying to all my emails, giving me all the info that I need, making this really smooth transaction. So thank you, Rob and Don, for this great transaction, and thank you guys for this amazing piece. This is a really beautiful bass. I really love it. You know, one of the coolest finishes I've ever seen on anything, you know, guitar, bass, whatever, you know. So yeah, once again, here it is, the Status Graphite VMAN signature bass. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great one. Peace.